If you're trying to maximize your natural testosterone levels, these are the items you should focus on. Hey guys, what's going on? Megan here. Top Tier Tuesday. The video should be up tomorrow because I don't feel like uploading it today. But anyway, let's rank the top 25 protein sources, most common protein sources, based on their ability to increase natural testosterone production. So let's say you're on the budget or you don't have a big appetite and you want to get the most bang for your buck as far as what type of foods, protein specifically, are going to help you maximize T production. This tier list is for you. Now obviously we're going to use the standard Team3Dalpha Tier list. So I'm about to nut, that's best of the best. These are the foods that should be at the very top of your list, mandatory. Fucking amazing are things that would have been at the top but are missing just one or two key factors. Okay, these are items that are going to help boost testosterone production, but just not as much as the ones in the top two, obviously. Right, so they're not bad, but you know, they're not too great either. Now bad, for the purpose of this video, simply means it's not going to have a significant effect on your testosterone levels, right? So anything I put in this category does not mean that it's bad for you. It just means for the sake of increasing testosterone, it's not going to have any significant effect. And obviously, same thing, pure garbage means it's barely going to do anything for your testosterone levels, right? Again, that does not mean that you shouldn't eat the items here. Obviously, they're good for other things, protein synthesis, blah, 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 but not for maximum testosterone production. The main criteria we're going to use are three things, right? Number one, it has to be high enough in cholesterol, which is obviously the building block of testosterone. I know cholesterol is demonized out there, but you guys know in order to synthesize testosterone, your body needs ample amounts of cholesterol, right? Which is obviously going to be found in foods that are high in saturated fat. Now, of course, your liver makes its own cholesterol, but again, not enough to maximize testosterone production, since a lot of it is used for other things, such as biosynthesis and things like that. Next, it has to be high in zinc, right? High enough in zinc. And you guys know it's very hard to find foods that are high in zinc. And last but not least, it has to be high in supporting nutrients for testosterone production, right? So vitamin A, selenium, omega-3s for anti-inflammatory properties, blah, 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 right? So number one, high in cholesterol. Number two, high enough in zinc. And obviously number three, high in supporting nutrients for testosterone production. And obviously I'm going to compare them on a weight by weight basis, right? So gram per gram, ounce per ounce. All right, let's get started. Chicken breast, bad. You'd be surprised how overrated chicken breast is. Again, for protein synthesis, great, right? To build muscle, great. But to maximize testosterone production, fuck no, right? It's not high enough in cholesterol. It's definitely not high enough in zinc. And it's also not high enough in supporting micronutrients. Right? Again, it has other nutrients, but not supporting nutrients for the sake of maximizing testosterone production. Next, turkey breast, same thing, right? Bad category. Next, mussels, which are very underrated, by the way. It tastes great. They're in the okay category, right? They're decent in cholesterol, not too high, decent in zinc, decent in selenium and other supporting nutrients, right? So I'm going to put them in the okay category. Tuna, pure garbage. Yes, the shocker. Popular bodybuilder food. Good for protein synthesis, right? Good for muscle growth, but not great for testosterone production. Very low in cholesterol. Again, relative to the other ones here. Very low in zinc relative to the other items. And also very low in supporting nutrients. Now, it does have some vitamin A and a little bit of selenium. But again, the fact that it's so low in cholesterol and so low in zinc relative to the other items on the list, put it all the way down here. It also has a bit of vitamin D, but again, it failed the top two criteria. Next, bacon. You'd be surprised. Okay category. High enough in cholesterol, has a decent amount of zinc, and a decent amount of selenium. Now again, it doesn't have as much vitamin A or even vitamin D as tuna does, but again, it has enough for the top two most important criteria, which is cholesterol and zinc. Next, cheese. In this case, cheddar cheese. Surprisingly, in okay category, right? It has a good amount of saturated fats, right? Good amount of cholesterol, also has a good amount of zinc, believe it or not. It also has small amounts of selenium and vitamin A and calcium, which are obviously going to help steroidogenesis. Most people really underestimate how good cheddar cheese is. Egg whites, pure garbage. Guys, notice how the foods that are very popular among bodybuilders on steroids are the ones that are actually at the bottom of this list, which is not surprising. They're already getting testosterone exogenously, right? So it's no surprise that a lot of the foods that are popular among bodybuilders are horrible for natural testosterone production, right? They don't need it. And your dumbass is just copying and pasting their diets and wondering why your testosterone levels are shit, right? Tuna, egg white, chicken breast. Notice how these foods are low in fat, low in saturated fat, low in cholesterol, low in zinc. But yet, professional bodybuilders love those foods. And when you try to copy the same diet, your T levels go to shit and you wonder why you have all these side effects, right? These foods are so deficient in the nutrients needed to synthesize testosterone. But once again, you can't blame them. They don't need it, right? They don't need for their balls to make testosterone because they're already injecting the shit. So use common sense, guys. That's why I hate when influencers who are on steroids, on TLT, try to give advice to natural people about how to eat or how to train, right? We live in two different worlds. All right, next. Greek yogurt, pure garbage. Again, very low in cholesterol, very low in zinc, very low in supporting nutrients for testosterone. Cottage cheese, pure garbage. Another bodybuilder favorite. Again, great for muscle protein synthesis, right? If you want to build muscle, great, but very low nutrients needed to maximize testosterone. Whereas the items up here are going to help you build muscle and they're also going to help you synthesize testosterone. Next, soy, right? Soy protein, whatever. You guys already know where this is going. Pure garbage. It's not even close. I mean, this thing should be at the absolute bottom of the list for obvious reasons. Now, again, don't get me wrong. Some studies have shown that it's detrimental to testosterone. Some have shown that it's not detrimental to testosterone. But enough studies have shown its negative effects on testosterone for me to be convinced over the years, right? In addition to the fact that it's low in zinc and low in cholesterol, right? So it's definitely not worth the risk. Next, whole milk. Now, I'm not going to lie, this one kind of hurt me a bit because you guys know I'm a big proponent of milk. I think milk is one of the best foods for bodybuilding. But when it comes to testosterone production, I'm going to put that pure garbage, right? It's very, very, very low in zinc, very low in saturated fat, very low in cholesterol, relative to the items higher on the list, and it's also low in the supporting nutrients you need to maximize testosterone production. Now again, it's great for other things, that's why I recommend it, but for the sake of testosterone, it's at pure garbage. And I'm not even going to go into, the estrogens, depending on the cows that they got it from, blah, blah, blah. All right, next, shrimp, okay category, decent amount of cholesterol, decent amount of zinc, not too high, but also not too low. Chicken thighs, same thing as shrimp, decent amount of cholesterol, decent amount of zinc, and decent amount of supporting nutrients. And keep in mind, I'm not mentioning the B vitamins because most of the items on this list are all high in B vitamins, right, for the most part. And the most significant B vitamin for testosterone is vitamin B6 anyway, too, right, to increase dopamine and GnRH and lower prolactin, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, let's stay on topic. All right, egg yolks. Holy fucking shit. I'm about to nut category. Keep in mind, this is egg yolks, not the whole egg, just egg yolks. Extremely high in cholesterol, which is good for you once again, as long as you're healthy and you exercise and stuff like that. High in zinc, high in selenium, high in vitamin A, decent amount of vitamin D, extremely high in choline, which is also important for testosterone production, mainly through choline's effect on acetylcholine and obviously nitric oxide production. I mean, holy shit, egg yolks are in I'm about to nut category any day of the week. Next, whey protein, pure garbage. Yep, I know that sucks. Whey protein is a savior for people trying to get their protein intake in. Again, for muscle protein synthesis, it would be at the very top of the list. But for testosterone, very low in cholesterol, very low in zinc, very low in supporting nutrients. Next, salmon. Fucking amazing. I mean, salmon was so close to being an I'm about to nut category, right? The only reason why it's down here is because it's not high enough in zinc. In fact, it's actually very low in zinc. But Jesus, extremely high in omega-3 fats, very high in selenium, obviously high in the other B vitamins like most animal sources, high in vitamin D, decent amount of vitamin E, in addition to its ability to increase muscle protein synthesis because of its high leucine content. I mean, salmon, holy shit, it would have been so much higher if it just had a tiny bit more of zinc. Next, fish eggs, specifically salmon, right? Salmon roe. Again, same thing, fucking amazing category for the same reasons I mentioned earlier. Extremely high in omega-3 fats, which obviously protects your testicles from inflammation. As you guys know, inflammation is one of the number one reasons why testosterone levels are dropping like flies. It's because our diets are so inflammatory, in addition to all the other reasons I mentioned before. But anyway, high in omega-3 fats, so that's going to help protect against that. High in selenium, a decent amount of iron. Right, you don't want too much iron, just a decent amount. Very, very high in B12, with small amounts of vitamin D and vitamin E. I mean, again, salmon, guys. Salmon and salmon eggs. Again, only reason why it's not higher is the zinc content is not high enough, right? In fact, I'll put this in front of salmon because as far as cholesterol goes, it has way more cholesterol than regular salmon, over double. Next, regular eggs, right? So that's the yolk and obviously the egg whites, fucking amazing category, but mainly because of the yolks, right? And I already explained the benefits of the yolks, so I'm not gonna repeat myself, but the only reason why it's down here is because we comparing these based on weight, right? So 1 ounce of egg, even though it has the benefits of the egg yolks, it also has a lot of fucking egg white in there, right? And obviously the egg whites are pure garbage. So that's the only reason why it's not and I'm about to nut, is because we comparing these by weight. But again, as far as why it's up here, just go back to the part where I explained the benefits of egg yolks. Next, oysters. I'm about to nut category. Case closed. Extremely high in zinc. In fact, it's the highest concentration of zinc out of every other food on this list and every other food in all the other fuck ass tier lists, right? So eventually I'm going to do one for carbs and fats and whatever. Oysters are number 1 when it comes to zinc on the planet. But that's not it. There's more. They're also extremely high in selenium, right? Which obviously has a lot of antioxidant properties, which is obviously needed to protect your Leydig cells from oxidative stress. It's also extremely high in copper, right? Because remember, guys, increasing your zinc has a few downsides, right? It's going to lead to copper deficiency, right? Because zinc and copper compete for absorption. So oysters also have a fuck ton of copper to help fix that issue, right? Very high in cholesterol, not as high as egg yolks, of course, but high enough, about 28 milligrams for every ounce. It's also very high in omega-3s, has a decent amount of iron, has a decent amount of manganese, not magnesium, manganese, which obviously is important for testosterone up to a point. Again, inverted U curve, right? You need some manganese for proper gonadotropin releasing hormone function, especially before puberty. But again, long story short, oysters, I'm about to nut category. Only problem is they taste like shit and it's so fucking expensive. Next, beef liver. Holy shit, the nut is coming, guys. You guys already know. I mean, it needs no further introduction. Beef liver is so fucking high in nutrients, which makes sense. I mean, your liver is where most of your vitamins and minerals and a lot of important nutrients are stored or manufactured by the body. Now, as far as testosterone goes, a huge amount of cholesterol, right? Pretty much shits on everything down here. A great amount of zinc relative to the items down here, of course. A good amount of selenium, a good amount of copper to offset your high zinc intake. A huge amount of vitamin A, which is obviously very important for testosterone production, especially at the level of the Leydig cells, right? It's the reason why there's a lot of vitamin A receptors around your Leydig cells. And keep in mind, you know, everything has an inverted U curve, right? So you don't want too much vitamin A, but again, it has a fuck ton of that. Not sure if I mentioned iron already, but obviously it has a lot of iron for you anemic motherfuckers out there. It has a huge amount of choline, which, as I explained earlier when I was discussing the egg yolk, is extremely important for testosterone and proper cognitive function. And it also has every single one of the B vitamins. I mean, holy shit, guys. You cannot fuck around with liver. Next one is chicken liver. Again, same thing, right? Not as good as beef liver, but pretty damn good, right? Definitely better than the items below it. Next, red meat. So we have steak, and we have, obviously, lamb, right? Same thing. High amounts of zinc, high amounts of cholesterol. They're not as good as liver, but the only reason why they're not fucking amazing is because they're relatively high in zinc, right? Very high in zinc compared to the other items down here. Nothing close to oysters, but high enough. Next, pork chops. I'm going to put those in the okay category, right? They have a decent amount of cholesterol, decent amount of zinc, but not high enough to compete with the other items up here, right? And they also have a small amount of supporting micronutrients. And last and least, fucking tilapia, right? Tilapia is fucking shit when it comes to testosterone production. Very low in cholesterol, very low in supporting nutrients, very low in zinc. And that's it, guys. That's the list. If you're trying to maximize your natural testosterone levels, these are the items you should focus on. You have eggs, oysters, liver, beef, and chicken liver, right? In fact, most animal organs, steak, red meat like beef and lamb, those should be the bulk of your protein intake, combined with obviously the items in the fucking amazing category, which is salmon, salmon eggs, right? So roe, caviar, whatever the fuck you want to call it, eggs, those should be at the very top of your list. And obviously the items in the okay category won't hurt as much, especially if you're cutting, right? Especially if you're cutting where you want every item on your meal plan to be extremely high in nutrients, right? And you guys also see how the items that are very, very popular among professional bodybuilders on steroids are actually at the very bottom of the list. It's no coincidence. That's another reason why I'm so against people who go on these crazy long cuts, because you guys are cutting your fats, right? When people go on the cut, what do they do? They lower their fat intake, and they end up missing out on all these foods up there, right? And you guys wonder why when people try to get shredded and when they try to get super lean, their testosterone levels go to shit, right? Because they completely eliminate the foods up here and they replace their macros, they replace their protein with the foods down here, right? Crushing the testosterone level. In addition to the fact that being on the caloric deficit itself crushes your T levels, right? Unless you're obese, of course, right? And now you guys also see why all of these guys end up going on TRT or just straight out steroids, because they cannot maintain that shredded lean physique naturally, right? T levels go to shit, so they have to inject it. But anyway, guys, hope this video helps. Keep in mind, nothing comes without risk. Diets high in cholesterol, high in saturated fat are great for testosterone production, but if your lifestyle is shit, if you're full of inflammation, then obviously it's going to be detrimental, right? So always look at things in context. All right, peace out. Alright guys, don't forget to like or share the video, subscribe and hit the bell, and buy my HSP Nucleus Overload Training Program. It's the ultimate program for maximum muscle growth. It includes full body workout splits, bro splits, push-pull, home workouts, you name it. Also comes with a complete guide for macros, nutrition, fat loss, muscle growth, hormones, including a meal plan. It's pretty much all my 16 years of experience condensed into one fucking book. You're also going to get free copies of any future edition. So visit Team3Dalpha.com and you can use the 40% off coupon code Nucleus Overload. Or you could just buy the shit at full price. Alright guys, I'm out of here.